of him acts on the subconscious decisions that he won't act on. So anything that he thinks of subconsciously without himself knowing it, this creature will come out of his butt and do these things for him. And it was just a really funny, it was bloody, it had some kind of cool scenes in it. Overall, Bad Milo was definitely one to see if you're into those kind of horror comedies. I couldn't get enough of Bad Milo. It was just a really fun one that I really enjoyed. Coming in at the number 8 spot is a film with the name of Charlie Countryman. Now, this one is not a horror film. It stars actors by the name of Mads Mikkelsen and Shia LaBeouf, and it's probably Shia LaBeouf's best film that he's been in a long time, probably if not ever. I really liked him in this movie. It's pretty much about kind of like a coming of age story. He goes to, I forget exactly where he goes, but he goes to a different country or continent of some kind, and he goes there and he starts to fall in love with this girl. This girl has a creepy ex-husband played by the actor Mads Mikkelsen, and it's kind of like, it kind of becomes that turmoil, and you kind of see the route it's going if you can read between the lines of the plot I just told you. Overall, some great scenes in it. I love the whole coming of age vibe it had. It was shot really well. It had some art house vibes at times. So overall, Charlie Countryman, starring actors by the name of Mads Mikkelsen and Shia LaBeouf, was a great film that if you're into those independent films, it had a nice indie vibe to it with the music, the way it was shot, and I really liked that about it. It was just really cool. Probably better than most of the mainstream horror films I saw this year. Overall, Charlie Countryman's a fun one to watch. That's number 8 spot, Charlie Countryman. Coming in at the number 7 spot is a film with the name of Under the Bed. Under the Bed was done by the director Stephen C. Miller, known for doing films with the name of Silent Night Remake and an Automaton Transfusion. There's that low-budget zombie film he did. And Under the Bed was a really cool one. Once again, another ode to those classic 80s films. A classic concept, Under the Bed. This creature that lives under the bed, and these parents don't believe him, obviously, and these boys trying to stay away from the creature and take it out once and for all. It's really cool. It has a real pretty creepy vibe to it. And overall, that whole 80s concept really plays into this film. It plays into it majorly. And overall, it's fun to watch. That ending of the film is really cool. Some of the best uses of blood that I have seen in the movie in a long time. It does have kind of like some slow vibes to it, but it's built up in a nice way. It's kind of a short film, only maybe like a little over an hour and 20 minutes. But once that ending hits, those last 10 minutes, the blood just starts going everywhere. It's just a really fun film to watch. Once again, Stephen C. Miller, who directed it, Silent Night and Automaton Transfusion, gives us another great thing to watch, and I can't wait till, I believe he has a film coming out next year about a limo crashed in the water, and they're trying to survive in there. I forget what it's called. Trapped or something like that. It's a very simple title. That's once again number 7, Under the Bed. So far we have number 10, Frankenstein's Army, number 9, Bad Milo, 8, Charlie Countryman, 7, Under the Bed. Coming in at the number 6 spot is a film with the name of Curse of Chucky. This is pretty much a sequel. This is a sequel to the third Child's Play film. We had Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. It takes, that's pretty much what it is, and I won't say too much more about it. And it was just a really cool one. And I love the concept. I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to spoil it. But it has some great death scenes. I believe, Seed of Chucky and Bride of Chucky had some comical vibes in it, that probably weren't needed. And I really enjoyed how Don Mancini, the overall creator and the director of this one, I believe he also directed Seed. This is the right direction where the Curse of Chucky needs to be put out. This was actually a straight-to-DVD film that I do believe was good enough to be a nationwide film. Overall, it was a cool film. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice, better direction. A straight, serious take with some great blood scenes. Once again, Brad Dourif coming back to play the voice of Chucky. Chucky moves in a more classic way. Than I believe he did in the Seed and Bride. But overall, maybe except for his face, he has kind of a new look. So that was pretty cool too. Overall, once again, Curse of Chucky at the number 6 spot. Overall, a great film. Number 5 spot was Maniac. Maniac was another remake from the 80s that starred Elijah Wood. And it was all done in a first-person camera angle where you saw everything from the Elijah Wood's eyes. You only see Elijah Wood maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 times in the film, and that's one of the best things about it, is the way it's shot. But overall, Elijah Wood really does push his performance to the best of his ability, and that was just a really cool film. I sorry for forgetting about that. I skipped over it because I have so many films on this list here that I'm looking off of on this piece of paper. But overall, Maniac was really cool. I loved it so much more than the original. The original was decent. I thought it was okay. But overall, you know, I believe Joe Spinell played the actor in the original, or he directed it or something like that. So I know he's involved somehow. But I thought Maniac the remake was so much better. It was put together more. The camera angles were cooler. The blood, just the performance, just the overall vibe just was better in general. Once again, that's Maniac on the number 5 spot. Coming in at the number 4 spot is a sequel, a film by the name of I Spit on Your Grave 2. This is done by the director by the name of Stephen R. Monroe, known for doing several films. He did Grave, Halloween. He's done all kinds of films. And overall, I thought I liked this film. It was really cool. Do I like the first or second one more? This one is definitely probably more explicit. I love how his style, his camera angles really come in there. The nice shaky cam stuff, that real nice handheld stuff. You can really tell that this is his film, and he has really, put his name and put his property on this. You have Gemma DeLinder. It says on the back, a no holds barred performance. Gemma DeLinder plays a great role. She is the woman that gets raped, and it's pretty much not connected with the first one at all, about this woman who is buried alive. It's the same concept. She's buried alive, come back to get revenge on the people who raped her several times. In this one, I like how explicit it is. I like how it pushes the boundaries of horror cinema and just cinema, films, and movies in general. And overall, I Spit on Your Grave 2 is definitely one to watch. A very controversial film that I thought was really cool. Once again, that's the number 4 spot with I Spit on Your Grave 2. Coming in at the number 3 spot is a found footage horror anthology film with the name of VHS 2. VHS 2 is obviously the sequel to VHS that came out last year or the year before, I believe. Overall, I really enjoyed VHS 2. Had some really cool concepts in it. Overall, I think I like both about the same, maybe even the second one a little more. The best short, I reviewed it, is the Iranian, so if you want to know my full review, just look up that, is the Iranian short, I believe, that with the foreign short. That one was really cool, but you got several good directors behind it. I believe you have the director of Lovely Molly, you have, Eduardo Sanchez, I believe is his name. So you have some great directors behind it, so VHS 2 is definitely one to watch. I enjoyed the first one. The second one was really cool. It connects all of them in a great way, and it really uses that found footage style and makes it new and fun again. And coming in at the number 2 spot is a film in the name of The Lords of Salem, done by the director of Rob Zombie. And just so you guys know, my number 2 and number 1 spots, I kept having to flip-flop. And the reason I kept having to flip-flop them is because they were so good. The film that I have at number 1 now, I would flip-flop to number 2. I would flip-flop The Lords of Salem to number 1. So you can kind of flip these, back and forth, because it was so hard to pick which one. So they're kind of both equal, but I just went ahead and said this is number 2 just for completion, just for the sake of being in order. So The Lords of Salem is pretty much a psychological horror film, a very art house at times too, majorly art house. Overall, it's pretty much about these, they get this, starring Sheri Moon Zombie, and Meg Foster, and Meg Foster is definitely my favorite thing about it. Sheri Moon, she works on this radio station, she gets this little record in the mail, and they start to play the record. Their record and their thing, and when it starts to play, it unleashes these sort of, you can either say it's happening or it's not happening. Either way, it unleashes these witches upon these witches and with the city they're at, and that's pretty much what happens. You can say it's happening in their head, you can say it's actually happening. Either way, it's a pretty trippy film. Overall, it's definitely, probably, if not the best film I've seen this year. So much style to it, so much substance to it, so crazy of a film that if you haven't seen it, this is definitely one to see. Even if you end up not liking it, even if you end up hating it, The Lords of Salem is just one of those films you have to see just to say you saw it. Overall, I love the film. I can't say anything bad about it. And that's that's that for the Lords of Salem. Just you gotta see it to believe. It's one of those films that very grotesque, has some scenes that I believe are cut in the British version because of how sexual and bloody they were. But overall, there's not a lot of blood in the film. It's mainly just nudity, just a lot of nudity, mainly old women nudity. But that's pretty much the plot of the film. Meg Foster was great in it too. So that's Lords of Salem. And my number one best independent or video on demand limited release, straight to DVD. My best horror film for the year of 2013 is a film with the name of the ABCs of Death. ABCs of Death was a great film. It was a horror anthology film with 26 different parts. You would pick a letter of the alphabet, and then you would have someone die with that letter, and you could do it in every way you wanted to. And there was actually 25 professional directors, and the 26th director was actually done by a claymation. It was actually a contest that they did. This is actually getting a sequel where they're doing the same method. They're doing 25 regular directors, and then another director that I believe just got announced a few days ago that will do the 26th short from the contest that they had. Each director, I believe, is given roughly $5,000, $10,000. I think like $5,000, and they can kind of just do whatever they want. Giving the letter of the they're given the letter of the alphabet, and then they just kind of, no holds bars, do whatever you want with it. This was really cool. Some of the shorts are better than others. Some of them are decent, but overall, as a whole, I really loved the ABCs of Death horror anthology film. It has some great directors behind it. Ty West. You got so many cool people behind it, and I can't wait to see the sequel. You got some, Marcus Dunstan's doing the sequel, the director of The Collector and The Collection, and wrote Feast films and some of the Saw films. I love this film. This one was really cool. Just had some great concepts to it. Lots of great blood. This one's just fun to watch. It's nice to see all these. It's pretty much like you're watching 26 different films. So that's one of the best things about it. It's just so crazy. It's one of the ones that you have to kind of see to believe it, because some of the shorts are so weird, and you probably most likely never seen anything like this film. Both of these, Lords of Salem and ABC's Death, you've probably never seen anything like these films. So once again, from the top, let's read off the best horror films, independent, for the year of 2013. We had Frankenstein's Army at the number 10 spot. We had Bud Milo, the number 9. Charlie Countryman, number 8. Once again, not a horror film. We had number 7 with Under the Bed. We had Curse of Chucky at number 6. Number 5 spot was Maniac. Did I skip over?